Hello, everybody. It is Larissa, and I am here with Leslie Shaw, and she is a dynamite of a woman. She is involved in many businesses, which are under the umbrella of health and wellness. So she's a health and wellness consultant, and you've got a huge list of accomplishments from, I guess, like business, life. You were involved in sports on a national level in rugby, which is amazing because that's one of the sports I actually understood in high school or in elementary school. Didn't understand any, but rugby I seem to understand. I thought it was really cool. And you just live a really, really beautiful life with your family and your puppy, and you just live a beautiful, beautiful life. And I remember we accidentally found each other. And from the first day we talked to each other, I was like, wow, this woman's actually doing something with her life. And after we got talking, you told me, you were like, well, yeah, I've done thinking into results. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a program that I work with. So it was really wonderful that the universe brought us together with this common language. And I always love meeting people, whether they worked with me or worked with other consultants directly. But I know we've grown accustomed to each other and really love what we do. So you've been in the world of personal growth and development for quite a while in many different forms. And how did you really fall in love with it? And why did you decide to even jump in the first place?
Well, it's funny. I wish I could remember the title of the first book I read, but I remember I was at a place in my life where I was living in Ottawa. I was nursing. That's my first profession, as I'm a registered nurse. So I was doing that. I was playing rugby and was in the national team selection camp kind of process. I was also running my rugby club and coaching, and I just had this really full plate. And people used to always say to me, "You have too much on your plate." And I would just say, "You just need a bigger plate." Like this, I loved all the things I did so much. It brought me joy. It allowed me to, it wasn't always about giving, which it maybe outwardly seemed. There was so much that I got from all those experiences as well. Sharing, I was doing palliative care nursing as well, which is actually quite demanding emotionally. But I would always gain just as much as I gave. And wanted to bring my best self to those things. But I recognized like some changes in my life that I felt like I was kind of short tempered and like just feeling kind of stressed out and just almost frantic all the time. And I knew that if something had to change, it was something I had to do to change. And so I found myself in the self-help section, which is kind of funny because I was not a reader growing up. I'm a twin. So I had my best friend in my bedroom. I never read books except for the MS Readathon because for some reason, do you remember those little weeples, like the things you could earn in the readathon or whatever? I loved those, but I was not a reader. And from that first book, I just remember really enjoying the work of like looking within and knowing that I wasn't counting on somebody else that was out there to solve my problems or deal with my stuff. It was up to me to make a change, to figure out what is it about, what can I do differently to, I think I was craving a little bit more balance because like I said, I loved all the things that I did, but I wanted to bring my best self to those things, which meant being calm and in a good mood and not, cranky because nobody likes cranky, right? So
No, it's easy to get there out of habit, but I think once we step away from that, it's a world of difference. I think one of the biggest things that I know my clients and we've been really working on is the idea of calming down to speed up, because it's not that doing a lot of things or having a lot of in your life is a bad thing. It's just how are you showing up at it? And so when you do start to step back and tune into yourself, you're really able to give more in a better way. The energy behind it is just so much more joyful and so much happier and so much more well received, I think, when we really step back and really look at what's important. So
yeah, absolutely. And I remember the one big takeaway from that first book was, and I've seen it in various other things since, one in particular, I think it's in Darren Hardy's like Live Your Best Year Ever journal. There's sort of this thing you go through each part of your life and you sort of evaluate how you're doing in each part. And you think about it, if everything's in balance, you're that nice circle, so you would roll nicely. But if you're really focused in one area and not on the other, you can imagine how try to use a triangle instead of a wheel and see how like what kind of speed you can move at.
Yeah.
It just became evident to me that I needed to put equal focus into different areas of my life so that I felt fulfilled in all areas, and that when my relationship at home was fulfilling, that I could bring a better nurse into the equation, a better consultant into the equation, a better daughter, like in my relationships, that when I was feeling more balanced, everything flowed easier.
Mm-hmm. And so you've done obviously a lot of self-image work, especially with TIR, with the Thinking into Results program. It's like a big component of it. And so how has the image of yourself and your life really improved from doing this work?
It's funny. I think at that time when I first started, before I ever learned of Thinking in Results, it was like I recognized that, there was, I'm a twin as well, which I think sometimes blurs itself in. I know I mentioned that, but it's like you've always got this person to compare yourself to. But I also know that we're not actually, this is going to sound a bit crass, but we're not actually like the meat package we show up in. There's more to us than our physical appearance. And yet I think we do get caught up in the physical appearance. But what I knew I needed was I wanted to be fit and healthy without like burning myself out in the gym. And I wanted to be able to perform well in fitness testing without it being the only thing I worried about. And what I loved about the self-image work and Thinking of Results is it's not about who you currently are. It's like, who do you want to show up as? And that creative work was fun for me. It still is fun for me. Like doing the boot camp with you last week was just, it was like re-engaging that, like being back in that zone where it's fun to create that side of yourself and to look at how far I've come. I love, like when I look back at my workbook from Thinking of Results, which is well loved as well, and just to see how far I've come. Sometimes I think as someone who, I set my bar pretty high, I want to achieve things. I've got big goals. I'm willing to do the work. I think it's sometimes easy to get caught up in what's left to do instead of how far you've come. And so I think it's important to do that reflective work a little bit, not to dwell in the past, but to say, wow, like I've come a long way. And just realizing that I want to show up with those core values of health and wellness. And that's why I got involved in the business that I'm a part of. I've been a consultant with Arbonne for 8.5 years. And a big part of what I loved about that is I get to empower other men and women to put their health first, not last. It's not about everything else. And then if you have a chance to get a workout in, you should do it. It's like, if we don't take good care of the body that we were blessed with and nurture it. And again, that self-care isn't just about nutrition, although that's a big part of it. It's also about what's going on our skin and what's going in our mind, right? We're putting different thoughts and allowing negativity in, whether it's through the network of people that we surround ourselves with or our own self-talk. When we can kind of at least be aware and gain, it's that awareness first of like the stinking thinking that I think we all have. Sometimes you get, a little bit of self-doubt or a criticism of yourself, or, I know when you shared about your photos and stuff like that, part of what I did as a result of Thinking Results is I also hired a style consultant, a personal style consultant, because as an athlete and a nurse, I pretty much have grown up in scrubs and sweats. But when I got into entrepreneurship, first as a real estate agent and a real estate investor, going to show up at an office was like, I was uncomfortable with my ability to choose a wardrobe. And what I learned was with my style consultant was that I had a lot of choices, but it was like almost overwhelmed. And yet it was underwhelmed because now I didn't love any of it. I really needed to upgrade my wardrobe to reflect who I've become, which wasn't like just the clothes my mom happened to give me, or, you're out shopping and that's a cute shirt, but you bring it home and you got nothing to. So for me, it was part of it was taking the thinking out of how to show up, because she was able to say, pair this with that. But what I was really surprised at more than anything was that she wasn't like a Stacey and Clinton from What Not to Wear, which is what I thought I was hiring. It was way more introspective work than that. It was more about what roles do you play and how do you want to show up in the world and how do you want to be received and what's most valuable to you. And so again, this thing that I thought was all about an outward appearance became about way more than that. And that's very much in line with the Thinking and Results piece. Like you can't outthink a poor self-image. You have to work on that. And it's an ongoing project. We're always a work in progress. So I loved the work that we did in Thinking and Results with respect to that. It definitely set me on a different path. And I do feel like I show up differently and more confidently since doing that program. No questions asked. Just with a greater degree of self-awareness in how I'm showing up at the things that matter to me.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I love is that you are passionate about the many different things that you do, right? You do a lot of different things, but you're also successful in all of them, right? Like you're not, when you say Arbonne consultant, you're not just like, oh yeah, let me just sell you a lipstick. It's like you have a thriving business, you have a team, right? And you support them. You've been doing it for a long time, but you also have an actual business, right?
Yeah.
In real estate, like you have a business, right? You invest as well as help other people get involved in that too. And so these are different modalities, and I think everything is interrelated, but you can easily spread yourself thin. But when you have that really clear focus, like I think one of the things I love about talking with you is you say, like, what's your goal? You're like, bam, 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 here it is. Here's what I'm doing. And here's why. And some people say I'm crazy, but I know why I'm doing it, because I want to make an impact in the world. And I love your passion, your clarity, your, it really does help just keep you going. And like, I got goosebumps talking about it, because for me, that's so exciting to see the results of that. Right? Many people are like so stressed about it. Oh my God, I got to do this. I got to do this. Oh, I can't think straight. But you literally like put your hat on here, put your hat on here, put your hat on here, and allow others to help you with that.
Yeah, and one of the things that I love, and I think it's part of the reason you and I connected so well, although we didn't meet through exactly, this sort of format, was just the one thing, like if I had to really like articulate my passion, is just that I think in this world, way too many people settle for a life that's less than what they're capable of. And the first thing is deciding that you're capable of more, but also that you're deserving of more. I think there's a lot of people who settle for health that's less than par, a job that they don't love because they're tied into that lack mentality of I've got bills to pay, so I have to stay there. And also in marriages, right? So my first marriage ended in divorce as well, and certainly not something I ever saw myself going through. But at the same time, what I know for sure was I wasn't going to stay there for another 40 years. I knew I deserved better and wanted better. And thankfully, I'm grateful because of my entrepreneurial background, I know I can help people to change their financial picture. Like if you choose, and I say this all the time, part of what I'm most excited to do as a mom, I've got these two beautiful girls that are 9 and 7. They watched me build my businesses for the entire duration of their life. I know they're going to see that the things worth having are worth persisting for, and continuing to not just make a decision once, and if it doesn't work out, change your mind, but to make that decision and continue to make that decision every morning when I wake up, that my goal is still front and center. And I'm going to do whatever I can today to move myself towards that goal. And in just so far as like modeling for them that they can do anything that they set their mind to. And to also to my network of people, like whether it's girls I coached in university or club rugby or in high school, or my national team teammates and colleagues, that really what you think about, you do bring about. Like if you think you're going to be successful and thrive, you're going to. And if you think you're just going to get by, you're just going to get by. So that's a decision we can make, to just think a little bit differently, to think a little bit ahead of where we currently are. Even though, like you said, I have a beautiful life, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who would question why I need any more. But the truth is there's a lot of people that I want to help to get, out of that rat race, out of that stuck feeling, out of that shitty relationship or job that's sucking their soul, or this unhealthy body that, I see patients every day who would give anything to move their bodies and they can't. So how dare I not? I've got good health, and I prioritize my health so that I'm not going to end up where my health is of a concern, because all of a sudden you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have good health, you're not going to enjoy your life. But I also really passionately believe that you can have a perfect physique, like the doctor gives you a clean bill of health. You can have, a solid marriage. You can have all these things, but if you have financial stress in your life, you're also not healthy, because that's an every transaction, everyday thing. So when I started my business, I loved that I could help everyday people just start to have a little more breathing room, because you could talk about the grand potential in our industry and in our business. And I know a lot of people who are doing amazing things, but because they've been successful in their business and they've been able to take care of their own economy so healthily that they can then turn around and give back and serve others. And that's what drives my business today, is the idea that I could really help people in a meaningful way, to just realize in their own life that they don't need to settle either, that just because you're disabled doesn't mean you have to live in poverty. And just because you're a 20-year-old and a student doesn't mean you have to live in poverty. Like I like helping people get the financial piece looked after, because then I feel like then people can start to really live and thrive and have choices and decide. Like I had one girl tell me once that she had to choose between yoga and healthy groceries. And I was like, no, you don't have to choose between yoga and healthy groceries. Like you should be taking care of your body inside and out. And when the limitation comes back to like, it's because of a lack of money. To me, that's just a mind shift that needs to happen for people. And so I love to share that. If we can take care of our own personal health and our own financial health, then we can really thrive. Then we can really decide where our passions lie.
Yeah, I think even one of the sort of side things that you said earlier, you mentioned skincare, right? We're not even talking about skincare, but skin is the largest organ of our body. And so often women think of, putting moisturizer on so we could look younger and feel better and more youthful. But when you actually think about your skin, like the things that you allow to touch your skin, the things that you put on your skin, whether it's shaving cream or whether it's a moisturizer or something, there's so many chemicals out there. And even that, that gets absorbed into your blood system, that gets absorbed into your body. And
actually 10 times faster.
That is a form of toxicity.
Yep.
Unless we're junkies like us.
10 times faster than what we eat. And you think, like, how long ago did you learn to read nutrition label? And then, I'm not a lobbyist, but what part of the reason, like the company that I'm partnered with is Arbonne, we've got over 2,000 ingredients that are deemed not safe enough to use, even though they'd be considered safe across North America and lots of places in Europe. We have a scientific advisory board and do clinical testing. And yet when I found it, I'm a little embarrassed to say, I was looking for a way to create breathing room and be able to put my health and wellness first. And I honestly believe that I attracted this specific company into my life. And now, I was a little bit mortified. I'm thinking, in my nursing role, I give medication over the skin, but it never dawned on me to care. So I had that cosmetic graveyard of whatever was on sale. And that's the other piece that I've definitely recognized in my 8.5 years as a consultant with this company, is that I find it to be a little bit sad that most moms won't spend the money on themselves. They'd spend any sum of money to keep the harmful ingredients off their family, but then somehow they feel they're not worth it. And I just want to shake my head. Like, what do you mean you're not worth it? Like, we are worth it. We're supposed to live great, live healthy and abundantly, and model for our kids what's healthy, not, everybody else is in great shape and mom's barely hanging on. Like, you have to put your best self forward so you can be the best mom, but also so that, my kids can see. I hope that they'll put their self-care first too, and that they'll speak up if they're unhappy in a relationship too, not just like soldier through it for the sake of someone else when you're dying inside. Like, I think there's a lot of people, whether it's the job, the relationship, the consumer debt, whatever it is in their life that's pulling them back and holding them down. You have to make a decision to change something in order to change all of that. And absolutely, you're right about the toxic burden from the products we're putting on our skin. Like, it's touched every organ and system in our body. Sometimes we used to do a demonstration where we'd have a guest, back before COVID, when we would be able to meet in person, and we would have a guest put like a clove of garlic between their toes, and we would carry on with the demonstration. And then a few minutes later, they would be like, they could taste the garlic in their mouth. And it was just meant to demonstrate that we really are absorbing through our skin all the time. So we have to be mindful of not only what we're putting in and on our bodies, but also the thoughts we're thinking. So I think, thinking of results brought that full circle for me as well. And I think I love the idea of a paradigm shift that says yes, I'm a nurse, but I'm not only a nurse. And that's a good thing. I think as well, like, there's people who they pick a career and they're like, they've got the blinders on, and that's the path we're in. I think there was almost a piece of, bringing in other elements and entrepreneurship into my household, because I knew one income stream wasn't going to give me the life I really desired. And we weren't talking about first class travel all over the world. Now I can say that I want to travel anytime I want, anywhere I want, and I want to do it first class. At the time, I was just looking for like 1 or 2 vacations a year and maybe a little bit of fun money after the mortgage was paid. But when you start to think a little bit bigger, and you realize that multiple income streams is just smart. If the income you're in right now doesn't allow you to thrive, then there are lots of ways in today's economy to add a little bit of extra in, take advantage of the tax shelter, like entrepreneurs like yourself, or coaching, who you're out serving a lot of people, and the hesitations people have are usually the same. I'm excited to be working with you. It's a long time coming, and the boot camp was a huge help in like just catapulting me forward and back into that arena. The rest of life kind of can sometimes blur things, and to really be putting the self-image first and growing into that person. I'm excited about what the future holds, for sure.
Yeah, me too. I'm so excited to continue working with you and really dive even deeper into all of this. Now, if you were to leave viewers that are diving into self-image work with one piece of advice, what would it be?
you're worth it. Do the work and stay with it, and know that it's not like it's like, you say you go to the gym and you're on a program with a personal trainer, and in a few weeks it's over. You know that you don't just get to go back to the way things were before and maintain the results you've gained. So you need to be excited, not allow it to be daunting that you're up in progress, but be excited about the progress you're making, and be willing to look into the future and really believe. The vision board piece for me is, I've been doing those a long time, and I always love when I go back to one that I've previously made, and it's like, yep, this worked. I've achieved these things. Some of them even exceeded what I had in mind. So it's free. There's no side effects. There's no cost to it, to use your imagination and to really start to build that belief in yourself. And it's built. You have to build it like you build any other muscle. You have to put in the work when no one's looking, and be willing to do the affirmations, see yourself as, visualize and connect on an emotional level. But I think at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, you're worth it. You're worth investing in yourself. I can almost guarantee you, whatever job you're doing, your boss at work isn't going to invest in you the way you're going to invest in you. But you should still make that investment in yourself, and take the limits off. What would you do if you could have anything? What would that look like for you? And be willing to just keep stepping in that direction every day.
I love it. And so what would you like to tell those that are considering the Thinking into Results program and really raising their conscious awareness to be literally deliberate creators instead of accidental creators of their own lives?
Yeah, well, I can tell you this, there's absolutely nothing to lose. I know when I first looked at it, I've been to seminars and different things too, and it was a commitment. It was a financial commitment. I didn't have the money sitting there as savings, looking for something to do with that money. But I'm telling you, if that's you, find a way, because it's that fear that's holding you back from making that, I think, in the grand scheme of things, small investment in yourself. Just think about what you could create if you really went towards that image that you hold of yourself. How quickly can you earn that money back when you're able to shake off the self-doubt and really just move forward with the process that works. And there's proven success in this program. You can listen to testimonials all over the place, and you just have to get clear about what you want. And if what you want is different than what you have, then you have to do something different. And Thinking the Results is an amazing choice for that, because I know, Larisa, you've mentioned this before, and I just love that. The things you learn, you never lose. Mm-hmm. It's not like, you watch a movie and it's over. This is something you learn, and you take it with you every day forward. And you can choose, how much or how little of it, how deep you want to dive, how focused you want to be. But there's absolutely nothing to lose by doing it, and just so much to be gained on the other side. And when you say, check off that one thing off the ideal version of yourself, it's hard to monetize that. What would becoming that person mean to you? What value would that have for you? And I can tell you, it's not a dollars thing, but I think in today's economy, especially, people are, a little bit nervous. Maybe they don't have the money sitting aside, but for people who it's important enough for, they find a way, and other people find an excuse. And don't find an excuse, and don't let your fear stand in your way of something you really feel, that tug on your heart that would be helpful for you. Just trust that intuition and just do it. You'll never regret it.
Amazing. Thank you. And I think if anyone does resonate with Leslie or her message, and her passion, right? Her passion for really helping people build the wealth, build the health, build a good life, whether it's through real estate, whether it's through your network marketing company. But I think it's so much more than that, because you are literally helping people transform their lives from the inside out in so many different ways. And it's not like you're just, selling cosmetics. There's so much to this work.
It's such a misunderstood. It's such a misunderstood industry. Like I say all the time, that part of what I found in my community with Arbonne, and again, I know there's a lot of companies out there, and I'm sure they're all wonderful, but the reason that I am so passionate about the one I'm involved with is that it allows me to put my health and wellness first. That personal growth is part of the deal. That is part of your job description. It's not, I wish that we did this in nursing. I wish that we did this in the other areas of my life, because everybody would benefit. But this is part of the gig. But it's also with, I could be a happy customer, decreasing my toxic burden, using phenomenal products, feeling and looking great. They've changed my skin, hair, and health. But I really believe the business can change your life. And just it's aligning with the community of other people who are looking for more or different. And that's what, even inside of this Facebook group, is that's what this is. It's finding like birds of a feather, and finding people who want to lift you up and propel you forward. And you could tell them how big your dreams are, and they'll never say you're dreaming too big. Are you kidding me? Like, you want to dream big, and these people aren't there to crack the whip and make you work. It's like, we want to help you create the life of your dreams. And I love the fact that, with our company, the products are consumable. They were throughout my whole house. It was too smart not to do it. I was already washing my hands. I was already wearing mascara. I was already using protein. And a lot of people think Arbonne is just skincare, but we really are about that mind, body, skin connection. And then I would wager that mental health is a huge piece of it. And that when people have financial hardship, their mental health is suffering because of that.
Yeah. And your energy fizz. You guys have energy fizz like no tomorrow. And it is like full of vitamins and the perfect thing for the afternoon, better than coffee. Way better
than Red Bull and Monster and these other things. You're like, what are you putting in your body, right? But no, all judgment aside, I love to do even just one-on-one consultations with people, just a conversation to say, sorry, I'm out about here. You can hear the sirens. But to just be able to like help you navigate through what is it that's your challenge, because with a background in nursing and 9 years experience with our company, I know I can find something that will help you feel better. And if you've got that same thing as so many people in North America, where you've got some debt, you're not sure how you're going to figure that out, you've got more month than money, and you're just looking for, whether it's a small business just doing a little bit of direct selling and a few $100 extra a month, or a really big life-changing business where my peers in this business are building orphanages in Guatemala, and my big dream is to start to create group homes for seniors to allow them to live safe and thrive in a home setting instead of being in the retirement setting. And that wasn't just something that came to light because of the recent pandemic and the damage that happened inside of those types of settings for seniors. But I really believe that these people have paid taxes their whole life. They deserve to thrive and live well. And what drives me, and I just get that, this is where I get the goosebumps, Larisa, is there's so many people who don't need a lot to really thrive, but they need something, and they need someone to see it and help them. And I'd love to be that person for those people, and that solution for the family members who are, just desperate to find a solution for their parents so that they can sleep at night. It becomes a big family. If you've got aging parents, and we think about, what are we leaving our kids as we age? Are we going to be healthy for our kids, or are we going to be a drain on them from a caregiving standpoint, because we weren't able to find room to take care of ourselves because we were too busy paying the bills. It really comes full circle. But that's what drives my business today, is my plans for getting that business off the ground, and not just having the money to get it going, but also the time freedom to be able to step away a little bit from my current responsibilities, to be able to really take these passion projects and run. So I'm excited where we could take it. So
amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking your time out of what I know is a very, very busy day today. So I will make sure, how about if anyone is interested in connecting with you, direct message you, and within a little bit, we'll also post your additional contact info in the description here, so that they can reach out to you if they're not on Facebook.
That sounds great. I really appreciate it.
Enjoy.
Thanks, Larisa. Always a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.